development that Owner and Gumayushi have shown over the last year, when you look back at Spring and the impact that they had on the team back then, and now these are fully grown, incredibly developed players, and if Zeus can follow that curve, T1 is going to be even more scary.
Yeah, and speaking of T1 being scary, Owner's stats in comparison to, you know, the guy that we've been saying has been the best jungler for a very long time here in the LCK. Stats are certainly leading us to believe that Owner has taken up the mantle. However, statistics are a difficult thing to really gauge, and Canyon, we know, has so much more depth behind him. So we'll see whether he's going to be able to show that here or whether Owner can prove himself as the better jungler here in today's match.
Yeah, one of the key things, of course, about Canyon is that, especially when he's playing on champions like Diana, yes, you're going to be down gold, but you got 3 POGs on that champion because, and it's been banned against.
I mean, he's equal POG leader. Yeah. Like, somehow Canyon can't avoid it. He can be having the worst season he's ever had, and still he's like leading POGs. I think he's a POG magnet or something. He's like what Chovy used to be.
Yeah.
Everyone can't help but throw all of their votes over towards Canyon, and often it's the right thing to do.
As you know, I love me some Zeus versus Birdle. There's so much to go into between these players, both very young. Zeus playing like he's a player that has much more experience. Birdle with both mechanical highlights, and also think back to Worlds last year where Ale showed him what LPL Fioras can do if you're a little bit too cocky.
Yep.
And I think that right now, as it stands, Zeus definitely the player that seems much more well-rounded, and it seems incredibly intelligent in how he sets up his waves, how he enables the rest of his team and his team fighting as well. But considering the fact that both these two players came up at the same time with a lot of the same hype surrounding them, it's just a beautiful, beautiful moment to see those two finally face off.
Yeah, no, exactly right. And we've been a little bit higher on Birdle in recent matches. However, his opposition has been Morgan and Dudu.
Yeah.
The two top laners that we were very critical of last year on Halma Life Esports, now separated and on different teams. However, still similar power level when it comes to top lane here in the LCK. So not exactly the most powerful opposition in the last 2 wins that Damwon have had. However, their last one was so clean. It was so clinical. They just absolutely tore them apart. So, are they going to be able to carry that over into this match is my huge question. And T1 have been extremely tenacious. Doesn't matter what teams have thrown at them, they have been unflappable. And Damwon, they will choose the blue side here to start this one off. And when it comes to first picks, I mean, last time around, they were red side both of their games, and they picked Leona first, both games. And I thought it was very curious, going for heavy engage to allow for more of these mid-game engage-style compositions to roll over your opponent, and they did that. Is it going to work against T1, though, is my big question, and I hazard to guess, the answer is absolutely not.
Don't think they're going to draft the same way. Don't think they should draft the same way. And that is the one angle where I can see where Damwon, in my opinion, have been able to find the upper hand more so than T1. T1, extremely strong players, but the draft at times, I think, has been going a little bit too deep on specific power picks that might not have the impact that they had previously. Whereas for Damwon, I haven't really seen that, although they have also made their blunders in draft left and right. I know you in particular wasn't a fan of the super aggressive drafts. I personally, still on the fence, but I just want an even draft with preferably no corkies.
Yes.
And then see what both these two teams can bring.
Well, Damwon are looking for an Aphelios first pick, by the looks of things, with that Jinx ban. I found it very interesting. Right now, Dam is pretty good at Jinx. The Thresh ban is actually very curious. Of course, Carrier, a phenomenal Thresh player, but Thresh really has been falling down in priority, especially for a team like Damwon Kia. So taking that one off the board, this is just beautiful. Thank you so much, T1. Love it. They're going to ban the Corki, the most annoying champion in the game right now, as Damwon thinking about their final ban. Fun fact, Dam's KDA on Jinx right now is 43. Over 4 games. So
reasonable.
Not bad.
Not bad.
It's doing all right.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. No depth, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's not quite 90% win rate. As Renekton going to be banned away on the blue side this time around. Damwon not wanting to deal with that one. And the Aphelios plan that they have seemingly in their mind is currently coming to fruition.
And either you get Caitlyn, Aphelios, or Karma here.
Oh, God, yes.
All three of those are still open, so T1 might also decide, we're not going to ban
Yeah, don't ban any of them and then
Aphelios.
pick two, right?
Yeah, you don't ban the Aphelios, they first pick Aphelios, and then, yeah, that's going to be the angle here. Because I think that playing Aphelios into a Caitlyn Karma lane is not an option, right?
No.
I think that you're going to get bullied out. We've seen an example of how that goes in the previous matchup last week, where it was a Senna Kench into a Caitlyn. So I actually really like the Caitlyn first pick here, because I think even with how good Gumayushi is at that Aphelios, again, both these two players are insane at it, I think that it is a risk that you take. The Karma will help alleviate the shove a little bit, but Caitlyn can just run over lanes, and I think this is the safer bet. I think we all wanted to see the Aphelios, but this is a very clear sign that both these two teams know and respect the power that the other team has.
No, exactly right. And Jhin Karma is very, very strong when it comes to getting those lanes shoved and fighting back against the Caitlyn's power. So I very much like this. Largely expecting the Caitlyn Lux to come out here and to augment that with some sort of jungle pick, potentially, unless Showmaker wants to lock away something like a Victor early and just shore up that lane for himself. Certainly a bunch of possibilities here, and there is a lot still available, but this Lux is pretty obvious. Canyon is going to go towards the Jarvan, and then the Lux duty will be picked up by Showmaker, and so this is very, very standard here from Damwon.
Yeah, I like this a lot from Damwon. Jarvan into 2 champion with no dashes, you're always going to feel good about. The Caitlyn Lux lane we've talked about a lot, know how strong it is, know what it can provide. The shove and the punish potential if a single misstep is made. And for T1, it's as standard as it gets in terms of draft here.
Yep.
The Jhin and the Karma and the Xin Zhao on one side, so a little bit more pick potential and a lot of mid-game spikes when it comes to the skirmishes. But for Damwon Kia, already a really nice front to back engage and a lot of shove in that bot side, although into a Karma, it's always going to be a question of execution. How much can you actually threaten her, or is she just going to be able to leverage the insane amount of wave clear that she has available?
Yeah, Syndra going to be banned away, of course, one of Showmaker's signature picks, stopping Damwon from getting towards anything like that pick composition that they would be capable of having with Lux, Syndra, Jarvan. Sounds like a lot of single target lockdown. I'm expecting a Gwen ban here on Damwon Kia's side, just because I feel like Gwen in a side lane fits so well into what T1 have put together for themselves. So far, they have a lot of rotational power in the Karma, so being able to play the map is very important, but the Tryndamere will be taken away first on Damwon's side. And that it's making me think some Graves thoughts, potentially.
Yeah, Graves, Gragas, Gwen are really the big ones that are still available in the top lane here. Na, of course, is a pick that, especially when it comes to Zayce, you're always going to have to keep in mind. It's one of the picks that he is incredibly confident.
Can we only pick champions top lane that start with G?
Yeah.
Is that actually just, that's the rule?
Gangplank is allowed as well.
Okay, Gangplank's good.
Yeah.
That's fine. Wow, they're all meta picks as well.
I know.
This is actually, it's kind of bothering me.
What a discovery.
Yeah, and I like that Akali's banned. It's like, no, only Gs.
Tryndamere as well?
Yeah,
oh,
exactly. That's a T. Can't have that. Renekton, that's an R. Can't have that. Only Gs. Unless, yeah, there's the Gwen that I was expecting, so that's going to be taken away. That is 1 G that you're not allowed to bring. However, plenty of Gs remain for T1 to lock down. I should stop talking about G, but I just can't help myself. Especially when it's Gumayushi that's going to pick a champion whose name starts with G. No, it's going to be a Rise being picked up here. This is not exactly a Chronicler favorite right now, so we may need to help support Chronicler through this difficult time. It is Faker, remember, and this guy has plenty of pretty famous videos of himself as this champion and some sick plays on the champion, so hopefully you can tolerate it.
Do think that, again, as you say, it's one of the most iconic champions played by the best player of all time.
Exactly. There's a reason why it does a front roll.
I do think that what this provides T1 into a composition that actually does have a lot of range. Yes, Canyon can go in, especially if they pick something up like a Jace here, then Damwon Kia has an incredible amount of spacing that they can utilize, and the Rise is going to have a really hard time. What T1's comp does have thus far, though, and what I really like about it, is that it has the opportunity to make mid-game plays extremely aggressively. If Faker can find the shove, then rotate up towards the side lanes, get a lot of damage done with the Realm Warp, try and assist the rest of his lanes. That works out very nicely. Same for the Karma. these mid-game skirmishes from T1 are incredibly strong. And what if it turns out to be a Ryze top? That would be something. But I think the Jace gives your composition a little bit more range. It works well into the Grace FC, as we have seen in the past. And overall, I think T1, incredibly strong mid-game. The Jace gives you a little bit more longevity when we get into stalemates later in the game, because the engage from T1 is relatively lacking. You're really only looking at the Xin Zhao, which is okay, but not amazing. But the kite back, right, is incredible. And their way to rotate around the map is beautiful. For Damwon Kia, much more straightforward.
It absolutely is. They have a lot of pick potential around that mid-game. They have the Victor for some late-game scaling. Caitlyn with 6 items is ridiculous in the later stages of the game, but the mid-game will be a little bit lacking unless they can really pump some resources into Dokdam. I think Danny's done a decent job. However, on the side of T1, I feel like there's just a lot of power that they can bring to rotating around this map. And we know that T1 have just been so good at getting a stranglehold and never letting go. If you have Realm Warp and Mantrid Inspire on your team, that only becomes so much easier to do.
The key thing for me with T1 is that no matter what the plays are that their opponent makes across the map, generally they will be the one that are getting ahead in gold, that are trading up in plates, and a composition like this definitely should be able to do so. If they don't find those leads and the Ryze can't get into a comfortable position, I am skeptical what it can bring into the composition that is found here by Damwon.
Yep, I think a lot of eyes are going to be glued to that mid lane to see whether Faker can just find some extra value out of this Ryze that not a lot of players have been able to discover so far. And if there's any player that's capable of doing so, I'd say that it's probably Faker on this champion. As here we are onto the Rift for game number 1, our match of the week. Damwon Kia taking on T1. Now, second last match before we head off to the Lunar New Year break. Hope you guys are having a lovely time if you celebrate the Lunar New Year. Sehe bok mani ba deseyo.
And if not,
then take my congratulations anyway. Haha!
I was about to say, then you'll be relatively sad because there's no LCK for a week.
Right, yeah, I thought my one was better. It was,
a
little bit more jokey, a little bit less sad, yeah.
I'm sure there's people out there that don't just have their life consisting of watching LCK. I can't relate personally.
Yep.
But they're out
and
there,
G-Sun has just let me know one thing as well, and that is that the new Pog State episode is going to be releasing during the break. So if you do want to get a little bit more of our thoughts on this matchup, as well as a lot of other things, some advertising as well. We don't quite have a sponsor yet. It is, once again, advertising LCK stuff. But look, we're practicing, and hopefully it is going to be good. So that's going to be coming up as well. As we're going to check out the win rate here of Jin Kama. It's not looking great. Caitlyn Lux, though, is a little bit better. However, not exactly the win rate that we were expecting. Of course, that went down yesterday with the DRX victory that we saw. But 5-3, not really what I was thinking was going to be likely. However, this is very, very different when it is Gumi Carrier and Dokdam and Kellen, right?
Yeah, yesterday was, I don't think, a great show of what the Lux Caitlyn lane can and should do, as both these lanes trading very aggressively early on and trying to find for the level 2 dominance. Also, side note, 10 out of 10 people have gone for Inspiration second, and I think 8 out of 10 have gone for Cookies and Time Warp. So people really, really looking to get the early advantage in lane. Like, it's all about the lane here, and at least for Dokdam and Kellen, as expected with the Caitlyn Lux, they've been able to reach that here first.
Wow, there is a lot of biscuits on this map.
Oh, it's literally everyone has gone.
Every laner has gone biscuits.
I think it was only Canyon, and if I remember correctly, there was one other player that went for non-Cookies Time Up Tonic.
I mean, Owner and Canyon.
There you go. Yeah, because they went for Cosmic Insider boots. Yes. So, do love me some inspiration.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty inspired. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm certainly feeling ready. As Faker and Showmaker, let's have a check-in on this mid lane. As Victor versus Ryze, yeah, things have been going pretty well for the Victor in this matchup thus far. And as we can see, Showmaker seems to be having no added difficulty or anything right now. 83.3% win rate, not too bad, as Faker's taking a lot of damage and is actually just going to get zoned away, have to teleport back into this lane. We'll miss out on a bit of farm, but won't die just yet. But certainly things looking very, very good. Faker's going to get his back stopped as well. Pretty disastrous. And in the meantime, Showmaker just happily farming things out. And Canyon and Ona going to spot each other once again, but with Faker absent from the mid lane, going to be teleporting back now. Does mean that Ona has to play a little bit more carefully. As Kellen's going to go for a little bit of a back here, and Dr. See whether he stays safe enough to be all right.
As now with Tusek, Kellen back in, both junglers making their way towards the top side of the map, where we haven't really seen as much action yet. Just Birdle taking on Zeus in the straight up 1v1. Might be an opportunity for Ona if he really wants to go for it, but not sure if they want to do that. Canyon also going for the top side of the Scuttle, so we'll be in the same quadrant of the map. And I don't really think that you need to go in as aggressively. And thus far, it's been a relatively uneventful early gamer. And as mentioned previously, I think that that's fine for either team. You're not really looking at like extremely early plays. Yep, you're looking at the first Drake, the first Herald, and possibly after Realm Up is available, Faker trying to collapse on side lanes where they can get big and stacked waves. But gonna have to get some help by, from Ona with that as well, because if you look at everyone side of Damwon Kia, setting up that kind of those kind of plays is actually really hard with the amount of reliable wave clear that is available. Little awkward here as Dom is gonna miss out on a bunch of creeps.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a shame here, and you can see as well that Faker, after coming back to lane, has been able to reassert dominance here. Now looking for their opportunity onto Showmaker. Gravity Field is going to be available if he wants it, but doesn't even really need it here as Carrier's going to rotate over. Can he actually get himself in there as he's going to miss the Inspired Q? Sorry, the Mantra Q. I guess it's Inspired as well, because he did press his W on himself while he was running in there. But still, not going to be able to find it, and Showmaker is going to retain the flash in the mid lane.
And felt that something was awry there. Not going to fall for that one just yet. And now both junglers still mirrored in pathing, meaning that it is kind of hard for either team to find any really big opportunities here. Good thing, as I say that.
Lightning's going to connect. A lot of burst damage here as Carrier's going to get taken down. First blood on the bottom side. Caitlyn Lux is going to strike once again.
You can play that well, but just a single binding needs to hit. That's the reason why this combo is so deadly. If you're patient enough, as the Caitlyn Lux, you don't overextend into an enemy gank. As I say that, both junglers here, but they'll spot one another.
Yep.
Then you die, effectively instantly. Not a lot of counterplay to that one.
Nope. Flag goes over, or Umbrella goes over, and spots that Ona was moving into this brush. Gumayusi, though, should be able to pick up all of this farm and be all right, but it's a great start here for the Caitlyn lane. Of course, kind of mandatory that you do get off on the right foot in that lane. However, getting a kill is not always necessary. It's just about getting yourself a lead in creeps, and right now, that creep lead isn't there, so the kill, very important here for Damwon.
And then we also see the value that the Karma provides, right? Is that even with how oppressive that lane can be, and the kill working out nicely, as Carrier unfortunately just standing on an almost timed out ward. Yep.
Let's kill him, is what he said.
Yeah, a good plan.
Yep. And he used one. There we go.
But as I was saying, at the very least, regardless, is that we've kind of avoided, at least for now, that scenario where Caitlyn just takes over the lane from really early on. And I love this. This is classic T1, and they've done this a lot, where even though Carrier's not playing on a support that can reliably set up ganks as much as any of the engage supports would do, you know, the Nautilus, Alistair, Leonas, but what he does do is provide more money and more plates by using his wave clear in that mid lane. He's going to pay for it with a plate of their own in the bot lane, though, so in the end, it's still going to be a trade that's favorable to Damwon Kia. Yep. And this is what you want to do with the Caitlyn Lux.
Net neutral so far, as, yep, Dr. just trying to get as many pot shots on this turret as he can. Carrier not able to find that Q because a 90 caliber net was available. And Owner is not going to find a kill on the top side, but look at all the vision for T1 top side of the map. Like, that is the safest Rift Herald take I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah, and there's two opportunities. Either you go for Drake or you go for the dive. There is a wave that is being set up here, but I think into a level 6 Jhin. Carrier also having the flash available, as does Gumayusi. I think that this is the safer bet. So you're going to take Bit of a loss in terms of gold, but I am fairly certain that Damwon is aware what's happening on the top side of the map, as now the Rift Herald is taken.
Yep.
They will know, and that means that that bot lane can now shove with reckless abandon, especially with Canyon in the area.
And 2 plates already taken. And that means that Shelly, I mean, as far as her value from a charge is concerned, that has been mitigated theoretically. I mean, of course, Shelly does add pressure and things like this, and that is also important, but still, theoretically, a neutral trade with both of those plates going down on the bottom side. Plus, Damwon picked up the Drake.
And we might be looking at either Hextech, Infernal, or Cloud. Now, you're here besides me, so
yes.
I'm going for Cloud.
Yes, that is my preferred dragon, absolutely. And I actually feel like Cloud, as far as a soul for T1, would be absurd. As Carrier's just going to flash on top of Doctarm. Canyon's in position, though, and this could be dangerous. The Q isn't going to land, but now Canyon... Oh, no! Just messes that one up a little bit there, as now the curtains have been called. Faker's going to come down with Owner, and it's Canyon that's trying to save his team. Needs to flash in the end, and there are no more bullets remaining from Gumayusi. Good Q's going to land there from Kellen, but he had to flash. Bit of a whoopsie there from the Damwon jungler, but they are still able to get a kill.
And overall, it's still a really big win, right? As Zeus and Birtle still fighting one another. Because what we had there was a 1-for-0 trade. Yes, you go down a little bit of summoners, but while it was happening, Showmaker wasn't rotating. It was Faker that went down with the Realm Mob. Showmaker just picked up a plate, and the gold lead actually becoming a little bit bigger here for Damwon Kia. And now the Gale Force finished on Doctarm. That pressure in the bot lane gonna become even harder to deal with. And I think that might be one of the reasons why we see Guma Carrier now moving towards the mid lane. Expect them to still go down towards bot, but might be looking to just apply as much pressure as they can and get out of that Caitlyn lane.
I think escaping the Caitlyn sounds like a really good idea. So we're going to check this out one more time. Carrier just flashing in to guarantee the snare onto Doctarm, and then Peacemaker doesn't land, and then Canyon doesn't quite get the EQ to work. It's EQ, not QE, you know? But maybe he just wanted to go for the... didn't want to actually displace himself and just wanted to get the down.
I was about to say, because you know that they know that the Realm Mob is coming, so I'm actually pretty certain that that was on purpose, and he was just trying to deal as much damage as he could without actually going forward and then getting killed. And it works out very well, right? Because in the end...
Yeah, in the end.
They got the kill, they got away from the Realm Mob, and overall it's a net gain for Damwon Kia, and loving how evenly matched these teams are here early on Atlas. It's bunch of kills left and right, but not a, you know,
well, mainly left right
well,
now.
Yeah.
If we were to have a look at the scoreboard. However, we do have multiple plates and Shelly going down here. This is the perfect opportunity for maximum gain as far as Shelly value is concerned. And so this is going to be the full tower taken down. And that is far more than just the 2 plates that she guarantees by just getting her skull into this turret. So really nicely done there from T1 to maximize the value. And as you can see, as the dust settles, it's about 500 gold the lead as Faker right underneath this turret looking for Showmaker, gets himself out of turret range, and they are just bullying the man, but he's still able to take down the kill onto Carrier. So I guess you could say that it's worth on his side, but still, it's Faker getting more money, and that's always good news.
That is still, though, a big investment, as the bot side turret will be taken by Doctarm and Kalen. Gumayusi trying his best, but I don't think he has the necessary wave clear. And I really, really like putting more money into Zeus. I think that his Jace is going to be a big point in trying to kind of match some of the threat in terms of range that's going to come out from Damwon, because the rest of T1 obviously relatively short range. Jhin can poke okay, but it's more about the setup he provides than like his actual damage.
Yep.
And with more gold getting into Zeus, I think you kind of mitigate that. He also, when left to his own devices, has been doing an expert job. And yeah, unfortunately here, I think if Faker was able to tank for an extra tower shot, that might have been fine, because now it's a 1-for-1 trade, and his kill's still going to Victor. Don't think you're going to be super happy with that as T1. And Damwon Kia get the early lead. T1 bounce back with that nice play on that top side Herald, courtesy of Zeus having the consistent shove there and getting the early lead against Birtle, getting much more gold into him as well. But then the bot side play showing again that Caitlyn and Lux, how much pressure they have. And all of this, Atlas, is setting up for a very nice and even mid game. And
yeah,
I'm all here for it.
Well, I'm not here for a pause. I'm here for some gameplay, and we do have sepia mode engaged instead. Still waiting for some information as to why this has occurred. Nothing really stood out to me, but apparently Kellen's screen froze. And, you know, having a very cold screen is generally not a good thing. Although you don't touch it with your hands, that cold can move down towards your keyboard, and you will need to use those hand warmers more often. That's what they meant, right?
I thought you were going to make a freezing joke. It was right there.
I mean, I did.
Well, yeah, but freezing as in the game.
Yeah,
freezing
but we've
waves.
done that one to death.
It
I
has
thought
been,
I'd try
it has
something
been
different.
I personally, I'm a big fan of you branching out into different array of
Thank you. I like
frosty jokes.
I like to think that I have more depth to me. I can make other types of freezing jokes as opposed to just lanes. The frozen screen one, not necessarily so good. Not gonna lie, but we'll keep working on it, and that's definitely a thing. As we check out some of these gorgeous fan signs, Canyon fan right there, as some of the polar bears that have been drawn here in Lowell Park are just the most adorable. Absolutely love it. I know you're a big fan of Polar Bear Lee Sin and Polar Bear Diana. That are certainly some great photoshops that have been done on the internets.
A lot of Gumayushi poses as well.
Oh yes.
Gumayushi already popular for his skills as an AD carry
and devilishly handsome good looks.
Ever since the hair swap up, it's been
yeah.
It's been working out for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As I personally think that this is a really nice setup. I think that for T1, if they can't find any meaningful advantage, as
that's Zeus' birthday tomorrow, and that's why he has the little birthday hat on. Very, very cute. So happy birthday in advance, Zeus. Able to have a birthday and then also a week off immediately afterwards? That's pretty cool.
Beautiful.
That is very, very cool. Do you know what's also cool? Not having a frozen screen anymore. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Kellen now can see what's going on. It might have been because he was playing Elementalist Lux and went to like the Frosty version and that froze his screen. I mean, it's an ultimate skin, right? It has ultimate powers. That's why you get it. Was that better or worse? Was I just carrying on an already bad joke?
I think
is that my...
It depends on your definition. You want your joke to be so bad it's good, or do you just want it to be good? Because
I mean, once
if it's
you get to
category
that
number one, I think you were fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure anymore. T1 are going to grab themselves a Drake by the looks of things. There's no response here as Canyon was caught on a reset. That is going to be the Drake's balanced out, and of course we have the Infernal this game. That's precisely what we need. Keep it fiery. I'm a bit sad that there's no Cloud because, you know, I'm me. But still, this is, you can't help but be excited.
I think that what this does, and it's something that's going to be really important in every subsequent Drake, is that it makes the chance of teams actually contesting for Drake, unless the counter offer is a Baron, much more likely. Because unlike Cloud Drakes, I think Infernal Drakes, giving those up, even individual ones, can make a really big difference. If you look at the amount of damage that's available on both sides, it's going to be really, really obnoxious to deal with, right? A Shock Blast with an Infernal Soul is devastating and can single-handedly end your chance at contesting any objectives. And I think we've all played enough against enough Caitlyn to know that if she gets a lead, which again already has the kill, got a bunch of plates, if you start adding some Infernal stack-ups to that, it's not enjoyable.
It's absolutely not okay. As far as champions that can snowball and are extraordinarily obnoxious when they do, Caitlyn is certainly top of the list.
Look at the synergy.
Yep, this is beautiful. Same amount of crockery being spread around the rift. Fantastic stuff. Couldn't be more even here. Outside of a couple of kills going over to Damwon, but the Herald being used so expertly to grab all of that as Faker's going to flash on over there, looking to just blow up this Caitlyn, and they will do so. T1 eliminate the threat that we were talking about. Will now have so much added power.
Really nicely done by T1, while Damwon Kia is throwing a lot into an owner that still has his ultimate as well. He's like, I can tank this damage, no problem whatsoever, guys. It is T1 that picks off the actually important target, and without Dogdom, I don't think, oh no, that you want to contest this. Damwon Kia looks like they are at the very least entertaining the idea of doing so, but that's a big risk considering all the ultimates are still available for T1 here.
Yeah, there's no flash from Faker, but that is about the only cooldown that they really need to worry about, as Damwon not going to step in here, so wasting a bit of time in the end moving over here. They'll get themselves some shellfish, but it's not the shellfish that they wanted. There's now Damwon with inside track towards this mid lane, and Birdol should be able to get this one started. Owner with the purple hands over the wall, looking for that wind becomes lightning, but not going to get there as Dr. does make it back. There's the final spark, just going to miss Faker there. Wow, Stone Cold just did not care at all. As Faker's like, yep, here he is.
Oh, beautiful moment. And it's really telling. This is one of the things that we need to see from Rise. The reason why we've not been that impressed with Rise in the past is because they have been unable to find an impact and because the side lanes weren't really influenced. We've seen Faker do both these things. He's already roamed, was able to get a lot of pressure on that bot side with his first Realm Warp, and then he's the one setting up the play here, getting T1 a second Herald. And the rest of the team, there you see that power of that Karma, right? Being able to very quickly rotate, even though the inside track was there for Damwon. Minimal damage to the turret, and a one trade for T1.
Yep. And now, okay, Canyon going to dive in on top of Gumayusi. Dr. and Kellen are there, but we're not going to be able to find the light binding. But DK still pushing towards this turret. Owner will turn up and defend, and they have the wave clear to mitigate that issue. So, Cataclysm on cooldown, but not too much more invested.
Really, really big, because Cataclysm is going to be on time, or going to be on time when this next Drake comes through. But Gumayusi, without a flash available, is so much more susceptible to either bindings, traps, or again, just another Cataclysm from Canyon. There is no one that can get him out of there. There is no Thresh in this game that can keep you safe. So he's going to have to be a lot more defensive with his posturing as we're going to get into that next objective. And Birdol, you can't defend this, fortunately for you. And it's really, again, this is something that I think T1 does better than basically any other team in the LCK. The way they use waves and the way they are able to just pick up free damage on objectives consistently gets them in such a good position when they get into the mid game, because they will almost always be able to find leads. Here again, look, it's been a bit of a back and forth in terms of flow and gold. But right now, it's T1 that has the lead.
Exactly. A lot of that to do with the fact that Faker does have that advantage in the mid lane. Top side and bottom side kind of split between these two. But if Caitlyn has a slight lead going into a mid game, and so does Jace, my money's on Jace. You know, he's building lethality. His items in the mid game are so much more relevant than Dr. who really just wants to taxi his way towards 3 of them. So this is absolutely huge for T1. Damwon now positioned around this Infernal. Minute until the Baron, as T1 are sort of cheating towards that top side as Ace in the Hole comes in. And Zeus not going to be able to trade back the Shock Blast just yet. But Shirley is going to be employed, and Damwon are going to have to deal with that instead of setting up for this Dragon that they want to do. As Carrier flashes over, looks for the opportunity. Curtains are called. As Canyon's going to walk in and make sure that that one is cancelled. Shock Blast once again going to go wide. And T1 again find themselves away from the Drake, but with a very, very weak turret here in this mid lane. And you could imagine that maybe they're thinking about just trading for the 2, because that makes the next Dragon so much easier to fight for.
And here you see how important it is to be first to the river, because Damwon Kia is the one who gets it done this time around. And again, T1, they do have a lack of reliable engage, and that is something they're going to have to play around, as now Damwon Kia on the backswing. They got the first Infernal Drake, and they're looking to siege this turret.
Yeah, Binding's going to land there as Kellen down to 50%. This tower not going to fall this time around. Zeus was towards the top lane, and an inner turret is now potentially under fire as Damwon getting pushed around this map a bit. You can see that Birdol was doing some homework there towards the bottom side, dealing with that minion wave that was already coming through. And now Showmaker has got himself caught, but there is going to be a blast cone, so he will survive for the moment. And Birdol will now have some spare time with this inner turret. But as you can see, T1 already at work. They're already a step ahead, and they can just teleport Faker up here, and that means that Birdol gets nothing done.
It's just a beautiful back and forth here, because this is all an elongated back and forth, right? It starts with Damwon Kia, they're first to river, but they know that the Herald is still there and they don't want to lose their mid turret, so they have to keep a couple of people there. T1, knowing that, still was able to get the shove, throw down the Herald, and as such is able to get that damage down. Then Damwon Kia says, okay, that means that we're the ones that first in river, we can get all our poke down, your engage is lacking, so we can pick up the Drake. But then T1, again, looking one step further, picking the side lane turret up, which is an incredible influx of gold, and Zeus is getting more and more fed. And I think once that Surreal does is finished, he will have the opportunity to single-handedly decide some of these fights. Gamyushi, still no flash. The punish hasn't been here yet, but Canyon, he's sitting in brushes a whole lot.
He definitely is. He's got Umbrella at the ready, as we can see, looking absolutely fantastic with his pool party Jarvan, as there's another final spark. Only going to take more than half of his health bar, but will survive.
Isn't it a parasol? Because it's against the sun, not against the rain, right?
Right, true, but I don't care. They look
I don't actually know. Like
I've only ever called even the sun ones umbrellas. And we do a lot of sitting on umbrellas because the sun is basically a murder weapon in Australia.
No, that makes sense. I come from a country where there's very little sun.
Yeah.
So we savor the little we have.
Yeah, fair enough. But you're right. I think accurately stated that is a parasol. However, would probably work relatively effectively against the rain.
I'd say it'd be even better.
Yeah, well, let's see how this fight is going to go, as that is a big shock blast. And Showmaker's now going to need to be protected. Probably not by Dr. preferentially, as they have to back well and truly away from this outer turret in the mid lane. Now T1 with a bit of an advantage, and Zeus, as soon as he has that empowered shock blast available again, Canyon can't tank too many more of these. And Faker, this whole time, just splitting on that top side. The 4, as far as the 4-1 is concerned, so much more powerful here for T1 as Bertle moves back in. There's the collateral damage just to try and get rid of these minion waves as in goes Canyon. Slides his way up, but now Faker's going to turn up. Showmaker immediately behind him, and Faker has to flash to get himself out of the way. Zeus has to stop with his aggression, but he does so effectively, and once again, it's a stalemate between these two squads.
Clinging on to the remains of that turret, Damwon Kia don't want to let that one go. It means so much more control for a composition which main poke is almost truly online. Zeus, he's already doing this much damage. He doesn't even have the evolve on his Mana Moon. He doesn't have Surreal as yet, but once that comes through, we're going to see more and more of these fights, and starting to feel like it's going to shift from a Damwon Kia that is very happy to just sit, poke, and siege to a T1 that has a incredibly strong counter offer to that. And both these two teams, you can also notice they don't want to push further. If this was not Damwon, I think T1 would have just gone for that. They would have said, guys, we can make this work. Just dive the turret, take it down. It's not going to be a problem. But 1 minute until the Drake, and this one as T1. You cannot give up with Baron on the table. You gotta not be careful not to go too heavily towards that bot side.
Yeah, well, that's a beautiful shock blast. Oh, Deadly Flourish so close there from Gamyushi as well as Dr. Regardless of whether or not that W hits, Dr. still out of there. As Showmaker, he was pushing on the top side of the map, and that means T1 should be able to get through here, as that is another shock blast, this time connecting onto Bertle. Showmaker teleports in, and that turret still on its last legs, but it's alive. Most importantly, Gamyushi is going to get tagged by the ace in the hole. Still a fair bit of damage. Doesn't have a lot of lifesteal right now as Kellen gets his crown broken. Does mean he keeps his health bar. And this is just all posturing, but in the meantime, Faker on the bottom side of the map getting damage onto this inner turret, and Canyon wrapping around looking for this engage. This could be so important if they can avoid poke moving on in. There's the flash over the wall, puts them into the Cataclysm, double flashes to get them out, as now Owner is just frontlining to stop the rest of Damwon from smacking that backline, and he does so effectively as Faker is going to warp his way over. Actually, no, just walks his way in. Kellen, he's missed by the final bullet, but he's still out of this fight completely. And T1 now with control of the Drake, of the mid lane. They might be able to get it all.
Now the team going to be able to get a decisive break, because no soul point for T1, or for Damwon Kia rather. It's T1 that actually gets this Drake, and here we see both the value of that Jace again here from Zeus. Like, we talked about the spike, the transform came through, Surreal is finished, and his damage right now is revolting. And Canyon is the linchpin here for Damwon Kia, because with the state of the game as it is, he is the one that needs to go for these engages, and you see it works. The key issue is, careful.
Gale Force is traded, as Zeus has to tank that one. Death Ray is not going to land onto the Jace. This does mean Guma does have to go back though. At least back a fair bit further, and that is the mid-outer turret finally dead. Damwon Kia that strikes first on that one, but in the meantime, T1 had taken 3 turrets. So elsewhere on the map, T1 have found some control, but now Damwon have finally gotten what they've been looking for the last, what feels like 15 minutes. Maybe they'll get elsewhere and start getting some more things done.
And T1 is playing incredibly respectful because they are also aware, especially if Zeus and Gumayusi don't have flash, Canyon can single-handedly end the game. If he finds a Cataclysm on either of them, that's going to be lights out for your main damage dealers as T1. Because Faker has gone for the tanky build. I think that with him already showing that he's incredibly happy to set up for the rest of his team, he is going to do a great job at that. But in terms of damage, he won't be able to single-handedly carry the team. They need either the Jhin or the Jace. And the reason why T1 hasn't really been caught yet, why they haven't been able to push to punish Guma, is because their vision control has been incredible. Every single time they push up, there is vision scattered everywhere. And as long as Canyon can't find an angle, I think with Zeus as strong as he is, it should be T1 that is favored in a relatively neutral situation, but walk into a single binding and that might change.
Yeah. And I think that the onus is on Damwon Kia to make things happen, right?
Yeah.
Because we've seen already that this 4 has been very, very good at keeping this wave shoved and giving Faker or Zeus time to push out these side lanes and get the control that they're looking for. Right now, employing a pretty beautiful 1-3-1 and just delivering minion waves for Damwon to deal with. And as you can see, Gumayusi and Keria are very, very good at just standing here in this mid lane. They can throw down poke if they'd like to, but they can also escape very easily with the Mantra to Inspire. As Kellen forced to clear waves here as well. Final Spark going to be used. He does have the crown, hasn't been broken just yet, as Bertol being thrown back once again. And I feel like Bertol's really suffered the most when it comes to this game. It feels like he's not the Graves that's able to be as aggressive as we've seen so many of them. Does have that double life steal, so is pretty durable here on the bottom side, but isn't really able to exert the pressure that he wants to right now down here.
And I honestly wouldn't mind if Canyon went for something like a Warmog's third here, right? To try and at least have some way of dealing with this poke that is coming through as a bait is being set up here, no vision. And I think they have started it now. T1, though, have double teleport for both Zeus and Faker, but it's going down quickly.
Going down extremely quickly. Zeus is going to be able to take this in a turret. Owner is in the position. But this is going down so fast. Can Owner actually get in there? He gets into the pit, and he's not able to get the smite. That is still a 50-50, though, as now Canyon gets himself over the wall, looks to jump on top of Zeus. Can they get away with this heist is the question. Do they need to? As Owner is almost obliterated. Final Spark does not land onto the priority target, as Damwon Kia now on the offensive and just stole themselves a Baron.
And it's a first true moment of weakness for T1 as Canyon.
Cataclysm, Carrier in trouble. Gumayusi dies as an afterthought there. And Damwon continuing to push. 1 minute until this Drake and the Baron will last that long.
And this is Damwon. When they find an opening, they go for it completely and fully, and T1 not ready. Even with these summoners available, they can't rotate quite in time. Owner tries to get the 50-50 smite, but is unable to do so. And there we see again, if there is no flash and Canyon ever finds an opportunity, you're gonna answer with your life. And now, soul point for either team, whoever is able to pick up the Drake hit, but Damwon Kia with the Baron, really a stroke of genius, just starting that up with the lack of vision available there. The fact that it's flipped and that it works out when it was at 600 HP.
I mean, that would have been game-winning for T1 if they stole that, right? Like, Damwon just have nothing left after that moment. This is so important, and this means that the game continues. As, yes, that's a very dead Gumayusi there, caught in the mid lane. Carrier does make it out alive for now. Shock Blast still need to be respected, as there's the curtain call. Showmaker needs to be so careful. It's shielded up there by Kellen for the moment, as the bullets still rain through. And T1, they have a lot of wave clear. They have a lot of ability to push back. So the Baron being mitigated for now.
Key thing here is that it takes much longer for them to get mid-prio.
Oh, Gumayusi in trouble. There's the collateral damage. Almost manages to take him down. The heal, enough to keep Gumayusi alive for the moment.
And here we go back and see how important it was that was T1 that was able to pick up these earlier Drakes, right? Because if this was Inferno Soul,
oh, okay. Okay, Kellen, are you feeling all right? He's got a Bloodthirster, so I guess he can now heal himself back up. But this is going to be Soul Point. Damwon Kia grabbing themselves the Infernal Soul. Each one of these dragons, so valuable, especially, like you were saying before, for the Caitlyn. But as we saw from Zeus just there, like, he can turn this game on a dime if he lands these Shock Blasts.
And with the state of the game right now, it's very, very even. Yes, Damwon Kia got the Baron. That got them back in terms of gold. It got them soul points, but it hasn't been the breakthrough that either team has been looking for. No inhibitors have fallen down. No loss of map control. So debilitating that it can't be recovered from. But it's again showing how incredibly cutthroat Damwon Kia can be if they identify an opportunity. Canyon has stopwatch available as well.
Yeah, Showmaker tanks a Shock Blast once again as Dr. Arm actually playing so far forward, able to get that damage down onto the inner turret. And they do manage to stretch that gold lead a little bit further. Bertel here as well, trying his very best to steal the popcorn chicken. Does so, doesn't get the drumstick. That one's still in there.
That's a gold graph.
That is. It's exactly the gold graph that we were looking for, right? Little bit of blue, little bit of red. Keeping us on our toes until the very end here is, okay, that's a lot of damage onto the Lux. Crown's going to get broken as there is, okay, going to be a bit of a cancel on the Realm Warp.
It's down!
And they managed to get the outer turret. Now, it is T1's turn to turn on.
Oh, I just love that both these two teams, again, show how little they're willing to give one another, that turret didn't go down. Because in a normal game, I think it would have been given up, and T1 would have gotten that like 4 times at this point already, and Dumb was like, no, that's our mid lane turret, you're not getting it. And now it looks like we might be heading towards either another sneaky opportunity for Damwon Kia if they want to go for it with the Baron in 2 minutes, or they can trade. And that's the big thing that they won with the previous Baron, is if they trade Baron for a soul point now, they're going to be, I think, perfectly fine with that, provided that might come down to another Smite fight.
Yeah, if they can actually break more of the base and really get the map control that they're looking for. If it's once again just walking into T1's map control, then that's a bit of a problem. As level 18 on the Graves, Faker is just going to say stop and then walk away.
I mean, Faker also shouldn't die. Look at his build.
Yeah, no. He's
he's
very, very tanky boy.
Yeah. As I say that, though...
Yeah, Bertel's going to give it a crack. He does not have any armor penetration, but he does have a lot of lifesteal. So that means that Faker can't die, and neither can Bertel.
Nice.
So it's just going to be hitting each other with abilities,
I'm sure eventually Bertel would win, but by that time, the rest of T1 would also be there.
Yeah.
And then none of that will be relevant. And again, you can see both these teams taking the vision game very seriously. It was that allowed Damwon Kia to get away with the Baron last time around. Canyon.
Dogdom's positioning, a little bit of a worry here as Peacemaker comes on through. Zeus taken down to about half health. Treatment of his own medicine there. He's not too worried. Outranges everyone on the map outside of an ace in the hole, I guess. He's going to wander towards that side lane, grab himself some Gromp health before he gets there, and he'll be absolutely fine. Retains that approximately 20 CS advantage that he's had pretty much the whole game long. He's so much more important here for T1 when it comes to sieging things out, though. Is Jace actually a very pivotal R5 pick here for T1, and is proving so right now.
I'm actually loving that, like, yes, Zeus, I think is still the play with the higher impact here, but Bertel also has looked better than he has up until this point. And it's against a top laner
and he's
that I
building
think
Infinity Edge 4th item.
Yeah, he's not messing around.
No,
he wants to blow people up.
It's like, it'd be really good if he had some armor penetration, but no. What about my Infinity Edge?
What about more damage?
Think about my crits! And he does have the rapid fire cannon, so you can't really fault him for that, as T1 thinking about delivering Damwon Kia the same situation. Things very, very dark there towards the top side. However, there is a minion wave pushing and that control ward sitting in the brush. The T1's Baron is not as fast anyway. Okay, never mind. There's the flash in. Zeus going to be able to take down Showmaker. Dr. has to flash away, but he's not going to survive. It's a double kill for the top laner. We said how important he is, and by God, he just proved it. As Faker now looking for Bertel as well. That is all the damage removed. All 5 members of T1 now crack open the Damwon base, and they don't even need a Baron.
And they're going to make their way over, and it starts and ends with the God of Thunder, Zeus, finding an absolutely pivotal pick, then also blowing up Canyon.
Here goes Canyon, goes golden as well, gets the health bars low, but he has nothing left. and will just explode. Has managed to deal with the minions though, so T1, they do manage to get an inhibitor, but this is not the end of the game.
Oh, we're not done just yet. Imagine there was a victor alive there when Canyon found that Cataclysm. But instead, we're going to 6 Drakes, and this is not your LCK game where neither team is like, no, we don't, you can have the Drake. No, 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 every Drake is being fought for. But we're going to 6 Drakes nonetheless.
Oh man,
imagine.
I was like, that animation's a bit faster, isn't it? But no, not going to be enough. As yeah, Showmaker looks for some poke onto Carrier, and Zeus is like, thanks, buddy. And that is both carries just sitting there on what seems like a Jace-style silver platter.
Look at how casual he hits the Shock Blast here as well.
And Gumyushi as well, being able to immediately follow up with the Deadly Flourish. Absolutely fantastic. Is Callum just going to buy in Faker as he teleports in? And T1, walkover reward, but they have one thing in mind, and that is this Baron. They should just be able to take this one down. Damwon Kia, there's a lot of T1 vision between them and this. That is a lot of damage onto Carrier. Realm Walk to get them out if they want to, and there they go. Carrier is left to the Wolves. However, T1, they grab themselves a Baron and get 4 of them away.
I'll take that for sure. And this is the T1 of Summer, where the Realm Warp was actually utilized very, very well.
Oh, yeah.
And again, it's just a beauty to see what T1 is able to do here. Damwon Kia, they've outmatched him thus far, but after the play from Zeus, it's been T1 in full control here of the entirety of the map. Now, they picked up soul points. They got themselves the Baron as well. Canyon on a mission.
He is.
Oh, the pressure he can find. Gumyushi with the flash available. Not as juicy a target unless you can force that summoner. But Zeus, I think you want to take him down if there is any possibility to do so.
That's 6 items on this Jace. He is very large. As we're going to check this defense once again, Canyon pretty heroic, to be honest. This game felt like it was almost about to just end.
Yeah, really, really big here. And as you say, the damage isn't there because Owner and Faker do a really good job of zoning Birdle, so he's not actually able to get in the correct position. As again, just a really clean Realm Warp, very nicely done. Trying to give the kill over to the Caitlyn, but it doesn't quite work out.
Yep.
And I actually have been loving how Damwon Kia have been using the Lock Hold as well. The Final Spark has thrown so many minion waves off for T1 did there so as well, but now it's just trying to hold on. The mid lane inhibitor in by itself, you can deal with that. Losing that is unfortunate, but a lot of plays are made from mid lane regardless, so you can kind of mitigate that. But if you lose one of your side lanes, then every single Baron contest, every single Drake is going to be infinitely harder.
Yeah, Deadly Flourish connects onto Birdle, I think. He does have a lot of shielding. 0-0-0 for the Graves.
Yes.
Not really been participating too much as far as team play is concerned. He's been Graves, just been sitting in side lanes, mopping things up. And as you can see, he's been doing that very, very well. 421 CS here before we've crested that 40-minute mark. Speaking of which, man, 40 minutes. This game certainly getting towards the very ends. As you can see, T1 now with so much deep vision. Kellen doing his best to clear things out, but it is dangerous for a Lux to venture into the forest alone, as Faker will just get himself a blue buff and wander back towards this top lane to keep things pushed. The inhibitor going to be respawning in 1.5 minutes, or just under. And by just under, it's closer to 1 minute, I guess. That's how the abbreviations should work. Gumyushi completes the Lord Dominic's regard, and Doctor, no Infinity Edge this game. Does have himself a stopwatch and might sell that to buy himself the IE, but needs the extra damage mitigation and the stasis to keep himself alive in the next fight. That damage not exactly at the pinnacle just yet for the Caitlyn.
One of the issues
That's
here
a Randuin's for Faker. He's got 6 items and almost all of them, it's all tanked stuff.
Yes.
Outside of, I guess, the Lucidity boots.
Well, Everfrost isn't.
I mean, it's got some health.
It does?
You know?
I'll take it.
Hey, and if your opponent can't move, then theoretically they can hurt you less. And therefore, I would say another damage mitigation item.
I like it.
It's a stretch, I'll admit.
No, you're good. You're good. Don't worry about it. As 49 seconds to the Drake. Obviously, you can't give this one up, but this is the reward. The bounty that is ripped for T1 is that the entirety of the bot side jungle lit up.
Yep.
There's traps, there's vision, basically anything you could possibly want. That's a nice cancel on the back.
Damwon have some pretty nice items for this last-ditch effort of an engage. As Shock Blast is going to go wide. I like that Jonah Strong keeps these zooms happening as Canyon taking a lot of damage. He's got a GA, so he's not going to be dying necessarily. Just goes over, smites a Wolf Camp, and tries to get himself out. Oh my goodness, his carrier almost just explodes. That is ace in the hole, trying to finish that one off, but it's tanked up by Zeus, and he doesn't really notice. Bertel now trying to get some damage down. Finally, seeing him do some work here, as Carrier has to flash to get himself out of the way. The redemption comes through to keep Damwon healthy.
Does the healing.
And now we're looking for Zeus. Can he land these shock blasts? And it is going to be secured by Damwon. It's somehow Bertel that locks that one down as Canyon wants to get over the wall, and he does so. The heist is successful, and Damwon make it out.
That means that Damwon stays in the game, because I think if Zeus would have gotten an Infernal Soul, there's no way. Oh, boy.
Oh, we're sepia mode once again. Hopefully this is just another, oops, my screen is frozen, and not actually a pivotal bug.
Okay.
That's okay, we're on Doc Dam, as that means that something didn't go very, floating Caitlyn problem. Is what we're experiencing now.
It's like the Space Cow.
Yeah, Space Cow.
Yeah, good old Space Cow.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So many of these games come down to what essentially are just objective flips, which I think is not ideal, but it also makes sense if you consider the amount of poke that both these compositions have available. And Damwon Kia has decent hard engage with the Jarvan, although T1 is playing very respectful. But for T1, it really is all about being the right place at the right time and hitting those crucial skill shots, right? And I think that we've seen a lot of teams in the LCK draft these style of compositions and then have it not work out because they're not there when they need to be. And T1 is showing us that if you are there in time, you are going to feel great. Now, this Infernal Soul, I think, while it's still obviously, like, it's Infernal Soul, it's still going to be amazing for Damwon. I don't think it's as game-winning as it would have been for T1 had they gotten that for themselves.
We're going to check out how this all started, as it was a binding that connects onto Carrier. Docdam half health sim with a Gale Force and a couple of autos.
And then it's Bertel that can move so far forward despite the fact that he built effectively only tank items.
Damage items.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I mean, he is a tank, right? That's the whole problem. As you can see, incredible amount of damage to come through here, and it's the combination.
Straight up 50-50.
Yeah, no, it really was. Actually, I think the Baron was at 980 health when it was smote, and that's why Bertel got it.
Yeah, I guess they coordinated their burst efforts or something like that, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
That's how we translate flip here without actually saying it's just straight up a coin in the sky, and then it came down and it landed on Damwon as Faker. Canyon has no friends in the area whatsoever. Final spark as Carrier's going to get cataclysmed as now Canyon. He's managed to put them into the hole, and there goes Showmaker. Manages to grab one. There's two. The front line is now dead outside of Faker, I guess, who is Rise, but is also built full tank. So I guess he's still frontline in himself as Canyon almost taken down there by Zeus, but remember, does still have the GA. As Damwon will take down this, oh no, not quite able to take down the inner turret. That has about a Whisker left available.
Oh,
but T1 without owner, no smite, no carrier there for the movement speed either, and they have a redemption to keep themselves healthy. There's the call. Yeah, exactly. Can Bertel actually tank this one up so that these bullets don't get in there? It is going to be the Graves going down, as it's in fact Showmaker that locks down the Baron. Pretty selfless there from Bertel to guarantee this objective, as Faker says, nah, don't think I'm going to be able to get there.
Wait. T1 shoving.
Yeah, they might actually be able to just pick themselves up the inhibitor here. Docdam back into defensive position right now. And the side lane's in good positions for Damwon. Very important for them. Otherwise, T1 could have had an opportunity to close in. Not quite able to do so, and especially not with only 3 on the map right now. Owner and Carrier just coming back.
So I'm just giggling at how little damage Faker took there.
Yes.
Docdam fires the ace in the hole. Faker showing that we might have some criticisms for the tank bot of Rise, but one thing that he does do very well is tanking, and I can't believe how I want to see.
That was
honestly,
so selfless from Carrier.
No, but also from Kane. I want to know how he was able to actually get behind enemy lines with the ward being cleared and everything. Just perfect positioning. The rest of his team immediately ready to follow up. If Faker dies here, I'm pretty sure the game is over. But instead, It's Birdle that has to sacrifice his life here. Really, really good call. I think Zeus, yeah, at the same time also fires the Empowered Shock Blast. That's not a reasonable amount of damage anyone can withstand, I think, when we are as deep into the game as we are right now. But I don't think that that's enough for Damwon, because the wave clearance here is still insane.
Yeah, Doctom's gone for a GA as well, so doesn't actually have an Infinity Edge in the build. That Infinity Edge was in fact purchased by Birdle. It was the only one in the shop, as it turns out.
Elder flip?
Oh my, how many flips do we need? Are we playing Dice or League of Legends?
Yes.
Yes, indeed. As 200 gold. There's 200 gold in it, and it's a 45-minute game, Chronicler.
Ah, I know.
This is absolutely absurd
So
right
good.
now.
Oh,
Canyon phase checking, avoids the shock blast, and if he hadn't, he would have been straight up dead. Ace Null comes in and Ona shrugs, I guess. At that one, as T1 do back away, and Canyon goes back and gets his health bar once more. Had no flash, man, that was almost absolute devastation.
Again, important to mention that if Damwon Kia is the one first to the objective, it becomes way harder for T1. And full control should now be taken of this bot side jungle here. For Damwon Kia, it's a little bit early though still. They need to be careful not to overextend and let go of that vision. Otherwise, there might be an awkward spot. Faker possibly looking for a well mob, has more and more gold, but like at this point, the gold, not what you're looking at. It's all about the map control. It's all going to be about that team fight that inevitably is going to break out over the Elder here. And if we look at the summoners, the big one I'm looking at, Gumayushi, doesn't have a flash yet, might have it available for that Baron fight, and we're going to have to look at Zeus. He has been the linchpin for this T1 roster on his Jace, and if he can hit the poke, if he can stay clear of Canyon, then he should be fine. But the angles that Damwon have been able to find this game are just insane.
There's just a little bit of a poke in the bottom there by Kellen with his final spark. It's right in the edge.
Kellen has Watchstone. Like that's how far in the game we are.
Yeah. The 6-item Graves is frightening me. Like, look at this build. Double lifesteal, GA, rapid fire cannon, IE. Like, that is just... I mean, he doesn't really care about killing Rise, I guess, because he has no armor penetration whatsoever, just does flat damage.
I would have liked a Lord Dominix.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like it would have been good.
You can see the argument for all of the items he does have, but there is no argument for not having that item,
I think you ditch the rapid fire cannon, you get yourself a Lord Dominix, and then you can also kill Rise.
But then the IE sounds like a silly idea, because there's no added crit, you know? Like, it's, yeah, it's an odd situation. Collateral damage flying through as Birdle, with all of his lifesteal, will go back to 100% once again. But the rest of T1, very healthy outside of Carrier, who's missing a third. Now T1's trying to spot this brush. Light Binding goes wide as the Elder has been started. The crown's going to get broken here, and Gumayushi going to try and lock down Kellen. Birdle over once again, just tanking bullets. Carrier flashing as over the wall they go. T1 has taken a bit of damage, and Ona down under 50%. This is dangerous times. Faker looking to wrap around, but the vision is good as Doctom has found Zeus and just pops him in the side lane. And now Canyon over the side, looking to frontline, and will do so nicely. Doctom in position. Ona has to flash to get himself away, but there goes the Graves. A 1-for-1 so far. The top laners absent from this fight, and the Elder still yet to go down. Ona can still be the hero here. He's on a ward, as now the teleport is coming in for T1. Damwon Kia, can they actually burst this one as Ona goes down extraordinarily low? Faker trying to take down Doctom, but it looks like the drink is going to come through for Damwon. 12 health it is, but Carrier is going to go down as well. And now there's a very angry dragon on the team of Damwon Kia. And Gumayushi now in trouble as well. The Chaos Storm flying over. He still does so much damage to Canyon on the back end. It still doesn't feel like this game is over.
I don't know if they can actually push through, because the health bars of the team is too low. You can't go for a push right now, and Zeus is going to be back up. And incredible, the first big misstep that we've seen Zeus make this entire game, and Doctom says thank you very, very much. Birdo and Canyon acting like insane frontline here, but there is enough damage available to take down that Graves. And without the Graves, a lot of the frontline is actually lost. Dogdom trying to repeat his little trick over the wall here, but here you see the one downside that Faker does have with this build. His damage is extremely negligible. He can't quite take down Dogdom. Owner can't approach.
Yeah.
But now with Baron and Elder, surely that should be the saving grace, right? That should be enough. That is the combo, Atlas.
They have the Exodia, as Valdez has said many, many times. It's now the longest game that we've had. I feel like every day we get the new longest game here in the LCK, but this is officially the longest one this season. We will be cresting that 50-minute mark before this one is out. Exodia has been hit here by Damwon Kia. They have the Soul, they have the Elder, they have the Baron, and they have T1 on the ropes. They deal with the mid lane. This top lane will have to be forfeit. Damwon Kia, can they weather the poke? Redemption has to come in as Showmaker once again taking a lot of poke damage. As Birdle looking to return with the rest of his team. Great Shock Blast is going to connect there as Owner takes a fair bit of damage. He should be okay for the moment as there's the Cataclysm. Canyon, unfortunately, not able to drag his way out, though, as the other Demacian in the front line as well. Does utilize the ultimate to keep himself alive. Gets a massive shield as well. And it's Canyon that falls. They lose a Nexus turret and an inhibitor, but Damwon Kia are now on the retreat.
15 seconds still available. They couldn't quite get the finish on the Xin Zhao. Being protected by his ultimate. So well done by Onin that also still had the GA available. And stalwartly, T1 holds on, not wanting to give this one up, not wanting to give the advantage to their enemies. And Canyon maybe getting a little bit overexcited,
no.
Doesn't hit the flag and drag. And that one, I am 100% certain he wanted to hit instead. Gets taken down, the rest of T1 peels back very, very well.
Yeah, the Parasol not quite working this time around. Should have got an Umbrella, I think.
That would have done it, Atlas.
Yeah, that would have done it. Bringing that up at this time, absolutely inappropriate, and I apologize. As T1 just trying to get themselves into a position where Faker can take control of that side lane and mitigate these super minions that are heading forward. With that one Nexus turret down, actually, it means that T1 still need to make sure that top lane is under their control, because that wave will be able to actually take down that turret if left completely unchecked.
So we've had Elder flip, but what about second Elder flip?
That is a very good point. And we've seen this. DRX went for it, and they liked it.
Also mind the one ward that's still on the top side. I don't expect that to be a situation in which we're going to see teleports toward that, but with only a single Nexus turret, that remains... Ah, never mind that. It's gone. Retract statement. Yeah, I think we're waiting 2 minutes till Elder.
Do you think Birdle's actually given up on like what he wants to do this game and instead is just like, I'm going to win Farming Simulator. I am going to be the best at Farming Simulator this game as Canyon. He wants to kill champions as now Owner throws down the ultimate. It's mano a mano, but that is going to wear off as he does have to flash to get himself out of the way. Zaya still just in this brush. He could theoretically get the big flank, but they've taken down the inhibitor already. Teleport now to get Faker back to base. Zayas still biding his time, finds a Shock Blast onto Canyon, and this time he flags and drags correctly. As they've taken down the inhibitor, that's what they wanted.
Key thing here is that both inhibitors will be down when this Elder spawns, and that means that it's going to be incredibly hard for T1 to be in the position that they need to be, where they can land their poke, where they can reliably utilize the insane amount of damage they have available on the Jace and on the Jhin. But it's starting to feel somewhat inevitable here. Atlas says the Infernal Soul gone the way of Damwon. The Baron's gone the way of Damwon. The first Elder gone the way of Damwon. And I'm starting to worry that the second Elder might soon follow, and only a single Nexus turret, only a single turret standing.
How many Elders do you need?
Well, against T1, apparently, at
all
least
of them.
2.
Yeah, you need an army of Elder Drakes. Seems to be the answer to that question. As Damwon now just clearing out vision where they can, wanting to make sure that the map pressure that they gained for themselves is able to be utilized to make sure that this Elder is not going to be a flip this time around, that Owner is not allowed towards that pit. As if T1 get the Elder, they can just straight up win the game. They can do it so quickly. They have an open front door to Damwon's base. This is still anyone's game right now.
Zeus also has teleport, so he can actually deal with the top side wave. Then the mid side wave is going to be a little bit harder. Looks like that will hit decently for Damwon Kia, who have full control over that bot side jungle as well.
Showmaker takes a red buff. That Lich Bane going to be a little bit more dangerous. Canyon over to the side. Faker's checking the flank, though.
Knows. Yeah, I don't... You got to contest, but I don't know if they can contest.
How do you approach is the question here. As you can see, the poke damage is really dangerous. Dokdam getting those traps in as well. And Canyon's not in the area. Bertle does so much damage, and the rest of T1 trying to work out their approach. As the Realm Warp is their decision, Kellen's able to get himself over the wall, but he lets them know that the cavalry is coming. Canyon's going to put Ona in the Cataclysm, though. And now Ona, no flash. He can't get into the pit. Showmaker stays alive, but the Drake, they're going to let it reset. Damwon don't want to go for this flip.
Look at the bot wave. They don't need to flip. All they need to do is wait. The minions are going to win the game for them, but they go forward.
Gravity Field is going to slow down Ona. He's not going to be able to get towards his Zelda, but it gets back into the pit. Ona now gets a huge shield as it's Canyon that flashes in. The Dragon now awakens and gets so angry, and the GA will keep Dokdam alive. This is finally the end. 55 minutes on the clock, and Damwon Kia will walk down and take down the T1 Nexus.
What an incredible first game here. 55 minutes, 100,000 gold rather, is what Damwon Kia needed to beat T1, but they will get it in the end. So many fights.